Welcome back. It's Wolftone. So today, guys, I wanted to show you this video. I came across it on YouTube. It's from a channel called IrishInquiry, um, and it's quite interesting. And so I wanted to talk about it. So I'll introduce you to these two in the video in case you are unaware. On the left side here, we have Stephen Kerr, who is apparently a independent councillor running in Mayo. And then we also have on the right here Suzanne Delaney, also apparently was formerly known as Susie D, or that was her moniker or something like that. We'll get back to that later. She is another independent candidate who is running, I believe, in Blanchardstown, Fingal County Council. So they're a little bit pissed off that the Irish Independent accuses them of improper conduct during a Fine Gael Mayo visit. They don't like that assumption that's being made by the Irish Independent, and we're going to have a look at it today, and we're going to see what's right, what's wrong, what do we think about it. So it's going to be quite interesting. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to play a little bit. I'm going to let them talk about this story, and we can hear a little bit about it. So let's kick it off.
Okay, so some things were printed in the Irish Independent today, and we would like to have a little chat about them. So let me bring up the first piece of this article here. Former Taoiseach Enda Kenny was accosted in the street and filmed by a woman shouting about migration in Market Square, Castlebar, County Mayo. The former Taoiseach held his own phone up and calmly asked the irate woman what she understood about the issue. The woman was accompanied by local election candidate Stephen Kerr, founder of the online media outlet The Irish Inquiry, who is an outspoken anti-migration activist. Okay, so there's some problems with this. First of all, I'm not an outspoken anti-migration activist. I'm against the uncontrolled mass immigration into our country. I'm all for controlled immigration.
Right, so I'm just going to stop it there. You can see he immediately takes offense to being called an anti-migration activist, which is funny because that's exactly what both of these people are. But we can see here, the reporter has basically said, the former Taoiseach Enda Kenny was up in Castlebar, and they were doing a little tour around there talking to people, and apparently an irate woman, this Suzanne Delaney, Susie D, started shouting at them about migration issues. So let's have a little look, because the one thing I want to say about this Suzanne Delaney one, I mean, number one, if you had to go by a moniker or like a nickname, Susie D, because like you're scared of what maybe people will know your full name, or you don't want people to know who you are, it's probably because you've got pretty repugnant views. I don't see any normal politician or councillor having to hide behind a nickname or a moniker when they're out canvassing. Apparently now she's grown enough of an audience where she's not that scared to go about her real name anyway. But let's have a little look about who this woman is. So I was having a little look around and trying to find some more information on her. One very funny thing I found is she apparently wrote an open letter, or Imelda May wrote an open letter, basically putting down about, Irish people can't be racist, essentially. She was sort of standing up for, immigrants in a sense. And this Suzanne Delaney did not like that. Imelda May, how dare she stand up for immigrants? And she decided to do a little response to the open letter in video form. And we're going to have a little look at it here, because I think it's quite telling how she tries to paint herself. She tries to say, like we hear from all of these people, it's not, is it racist to care about this, and is it racist to worry about immigration and all this kind of stuff? So let's have a little look at what she says here.
Are we racist to be concerned about the greed involved in this human trafficking scam? Is it racist that we don't approve of human beings being used like cattle, crammed into glorified farm sheds for profit? Are we bad people for thinking it's wrong for children to grow up in abnormal conditions instead of family homes? And is it awful of us to be worried about the increase in crime or the breakdown in social cohesion?
So I'm gonna stop it there. I mean, what she says isn't so bad, but I mean, it's like that they're not that big of an issues that you're talking about. She's trying to come across as, is it racist for us to care about these people? And, we care about these people. We don't want them being used as human cattle and all of this other crazy stuff, when in reality, like, this is just a front for their own racism. So I just wanted to kind of contextualize her own view of, I'm not a racist because I care about immigrants, apparently. Put that in quotation marks all you like. But let's have a little look at her on the streets of Dublin at a anti-migration, march, and let's see how she sounds.
It's time to recall who we are, to hear the call of our ancestors, the powers that be. Now we have a strong spiritual connection to them, and it frightens them, because our legends, poetry and song tell time and again how we rose up against oppressors who tried to vanish us.
Oh God. Okay. You can already see where this is going. I mean, she's literally shaking, like, as she's delivering this speech to all the other racists that are there in the crowd, trying to invoke our ancestors and all this other stuff, which is like very fascistic, if you ask me. Like, our ancestors this, and rising up against our oppressors, as if like people who are coming over here, in search of, international protection or whatever, migrants, there are new oppressors, apparently, and we need to rise up against them. It's quite scary, to be honest, but let's continue, and let's keep going.
We simply must win, and if we don't, our children will fall just like the children on that statue in the Garden of Remembrance, who are trapped there in stone, making their downward descent towards the ground. I wonder now, would that statue even be here in 100 years? And with that, I ask you to stand up and ensure the survival of not just your children, but also Irishness and all that it means to be so.
Yuck. I mean, this is just disgusting. She's talking about our children will fall. Our children will fall because we're helping out migrants. Like, this is crazy. And, the Irishness will disappear in 100 years. Like, what are you talking about? This is crazy talk. And look in the crowd with the Irish flags and everything. How patriotic. How, like, that you're all shouting, like, just because you're all a bunch of racists, basically. You just don't like brown people. You don't like black people. You don't like people that aren't the same color as you. It's quite scary. So the fact that she wants to go on and pretend that she cares about the immigrant children, she doesn't want, immigrants living in bad conditions and all of this stuff, when you can see right here the crowd that she's appealing to. These people are marching through the streets of Dublin, which, by the way, everyone, in case you don't know, it's a multicultural, advanced city. There are thousands upon thousands of legal migrant workers here, that are already working. And these arseholes are marching through the streets, chanting, get them out, send them home, deport them, Ireland for the Irish. It's fascistic in nature. It's ridiculous, but they care about the immigrants, apparently. They're only doing this because they care about them. Absolutely bonkers. But I just wanted to kind of frame so you know who she is and sort of what she's about before we get into this, because she tries to portray herself as caring for the kids and caring about this, when we can all really see what the agenda is. So let's go back to the original video. And we're going to see, let's have a look at this altercation that the Irish Independent is talking about. And let's kind of see how this councillor, this person who wants to join our county councils, this politician, and how she approaches a conversation around this. Let's have a little look.
And secondly, I want to bring up this point here where she refers to Suzanne as an irate woman. The Taoiseach asking what she understood about the issue. Now, that's not what happened at all. Let me bring up the clip here of the interaction between Suzanne, myself, and the former Taoiseach, Enda Kenny.
Have a wee chat with us. Have a wee chat. Come on.
You will go on.
Go on.
What do you want to chat about?
I want to chat about the
We're
current
not
mass
happy about the way
immigration
things are
policy.
going in the country.
What do you think
It's
of that?
great to help people, but it's not about humanitarian duty at all, is it?
The
You know
Taoiseach-
there's children up in that sports centre in Brafey that are in windowless rooms. We're in windowless rooms.
Okay, so
Do you understand that? What happens if a fire breaks out in that centre? Can any of you answer me? What happens if a fire breaks out in that centre? Children in windowless rooms, and you say you care about these children? Well, it has no proper fire cert. So do you want to tell us what will happen to children there?
Do you know what services we
Do you
have
want
here?
to tell us what
Do you know
will
what
happen?
services
Can
we
you
have
answer the
here?
question?
Do you know what services we have here?
Can you answer the question?
Do you know what services we have?
Can you answer the
You don't
question?
want to answer the question, do you?
Can you answer the question?
Get up.
Can you answer the
Mr.
question?
Kenny,
Yeah. You wouldn't care less if those children burnt to death. None of you would.
okay, so that's our interaction with former Taoiseach Enda Kenny.
Yes, that is your interaction, and how absolutely embarrassing was that? I mean, honestly, like these people have no shame. Like she's actually, I don't understand how she can show her face and think that this was normal. Like she was very irate. He could. Enda Kenny couldn't even get a word out because the two of them started immediately talking over each other and absolutely. And she was basically shouting in his face, "What about the children? What about the children? There's no windows for the children." Like, first of all, Enda Kenny has nothing to do with it. He's not in office anymore. He's just there, obviously, promoting his party. And you can even hear him at the start when they start talking. He says, "Well, the Taoiseach is right inside." They don't want to. They just don't care. They just want to attack and go on the offense. They don't actually care what he has to say because they have their own agenda that they're trying to push on him. But I just love like the the Irish Independent, the little report, the story on it is actually very reflective of what happened. And I love how the two of them tried to do the very cutesy, go on, you'll have an old chat there, Enda, won't you? Come on, you'll have an old chat. They basically flanked him, They ambushed him on the street. And then she couldn't bite her tongue. This guy, Stephen Kerr, started asking him a question, and she immediately couldn't bite her tongue because she's that crazy. She has to start immediately talking over him, and then starts absolutely going irate. What about this and what about that? Won't even give him a chance to speak, even though it's not under his watch. He's out of the government now. And he even tries to talk to her. He was like, "Well, do you know what services we have here?" She didn't want to answer the question. She just wanted to shout and get her point across to him. You can kind of see straight away that the two of them look unhinged, and everyone around Enda Kenny is looking at them like, who are these two lunatics that are, just shouting? Immediately, there was no conversation. They just immediately went to shouting. So yeah, we can kind of see where both of these viewpoints are at. But next, right, let's have a look, because you can hear her shouting about, the accommodation. There's no windows for the kids. Or what about the kids? And what if a fire starts? And what are they gonna do? Where's the fire certs? And all of this kind of stuff. So let's go and have they actually bring up a video here later on of this, IPAS centre that's up there in County Mayo. Let's go have a little look at it, and let's have a little look and see what it's like. So let's start from here. Let's say.
Some people have probably already seen some of the Virgin Media footage, but we do have more footage.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll show that in a couple of minutes. And before we do, let me just put up this footage from the IPAS Centre. Okay, so this is just a walk around here. You can feel free to comment, Suzanne. I'm not sure if it's a bit glitchy for you or if you'll be able to comment when the video is playing, but you can see here there's no windows in any of these rooms.
Yeah, like how are people meant to get out of here in a fire? How are children meant to get out of here in a fire?
Oh, because you care so much about the children, Suzanne. You really care about those immigrant children. I can just tell by you when you're marching through the streets of Dublin shouting, "Get them out, send them home." These innocent children, but you care about them. Of course, let's continue.
Aside from anything else, it's cruel and inhumane to have any child in rooms where there's no sunlight, and it can't be good for your mental health or your physical health for that matter.
It's cruel and inhumane to put these people in these rooms. No, actually, Suzanne, what's cruel and inhumane is deporting these people who have came here, who are genuinely looking for protection, maybe sending them back to, the Ukrainians. They'd love to send them back to Ukraine to get blown up by Putin and the Russian onslaught that's been going on there the last few years. They'd love to send back everyone, whether their country is facing a famine, whether the country is facing internal strife with wars and everything else. They'd rather send them back, but they think the Irish government trying to help these people and house them in the best facilities they can, that's apparently cruel and inhumane. Yeah, it's just mind boggling. Let's continue.
No toilets, no showers. If there's a lot of in this. We know there's an issue with men coming in, and that 85% of people coming in are economic migrants. We get that, but there are a few centres where there are children and women.
Interesting. Look, this is where the conversation is going. We know 85% of the men and economic migrants, and we know what's going on. But some of them might be children. There might be some children there and some women. It's just absolute cognitive dissonance. Like, it really, really is. On the one hand, she's shouting and screaming in the street about save the children, and in her next breath, she's talking about, well, we all know all the immigrants are 85% men, economic migrants. I mean, it's bizarre, and this is another thing that really gets me, that really riles me up. Talking about economic migrants, it's a normal thing for people around the world to want to better themselves and better their lives. Immigrants are no different. Immigrants are humans. If you come from a poor country, you're gonna want to go to a richer country and try and better your life. These people act as if there's no migrants going into other European countries, or they're apparently they're only coming to Ireland because it's such a great country to get the dole and they get this and they get that and they get everything handed to them off the boats. The same old racist trope we heard for years and years. Irish people are the biggest immigrators ever. A lot of our young people have emigrated around the world, everyone knows, to the likes of the US, to Canada, to Australia, in search of a better life. But that's okay, Apparently, that's okay for us to do it because we're not brown and black. You see, we're white. We're nice, but we're better than those filthy, migrants who come over from poorer countries over here. It's just it's a ridiculous take that they have. But it gets even worse. Let's continue on.
Single parent families. They have to go to the toilet during the night. They have to make their way down the stairs. A lot of the security staff are not fitted. These toilets and showers here, this is showing them before this centre was actually opened up, so they're nice and clean. But we've since had reports that these toilets and showers are filthy.
Wow, look what's going on here. Now it starts. This video was taken before they came, and now there's reports it's filthy. There's reports it's filthy because of course the immigrants are filthy. They're dirty people. It's just a disgusting racist take, like as if Irish people have never had a dirty home. Everyone knows that the amount of homes I've been to in Ireland that are manky, all owned by Irish people, manky, filthy, dirty. But that's different. That's different. But these migrants, of course, they're filthy, dirty. Absolute ridiculous. And then to say, they're to go to the toilet, they have to walk down the corridor. Gasp! Oh my god, how terrible. They have to walk down the corridor to go to the toilet. Like, you can look at the rooms in the video. They're actually quite spacious. I mean, like, the country is doing the best that it can. These are state-sanctioned, already pre-made facilities for these people. There's only so much we can do. It's clean, it's spacious, it looks like it can do the job of housing these people. But they want to try and go off of, they're trying to help the children and this and that, and there's no windows. That's the thing they're focusing on. There's no windows for these people. Like, so the best thing to do is send them back to their terrible country, and let's not help them out at all. It's wild.
And are spreading disease and infection and viruses.
Spreading disease, infections, and viruses. Those dirty, filthy immigrants. Yuck. How disgusting.
Yeah. So they're the conditions that these vulnerable people are living in down in Brafey House.
Yeah, it doesn't look that bad if you're an international protection applicant who's coming from a really terrible country, and if you're put in here, it's not that bad. Like, it really isn't. I don't like they're not being locked up in cages. I mean, they're getting their meals. You know, the facilities here are clean. Like, okay, the place might be dirtier now than it was before. I mean, if you have a lot of people in one area, like that's going to happen. And obviously, you know, it's a halfway point for these people. It's not their own home. I mean, if the place gets dirty, it's not a big deal. But they want to make out that, you know, filthy, dirty, you know, dirty immigrants, the usual tropes. But let's go back to this Mayo visit again, because I think they just make absolute fools of themselves. You know, and they're willing to post it. And these people are councillors. These people want to join county councils. It's embarrassing. Let's look at this next piece where it's quite funny. They're actually barred entry to like a Fine Gael sort of meeting that's going on. And yeah, let's have a look at it. It's quite funny. So I'm gonna say let's start it from say about here.
I agree with you there. And here, Ger, is again. This is at the Fine Gael propaganda tour yesterday. They wouldn't let us see what was going on inside, so Ger is trying to block us there from seeing. It's a Fine Gael membership party only. It seems no members of the public allowed, and only selected members of the press.
Oh, no members of the public allowed. I mean, you can see in the video that like there's lots and lots of people in there. It definitely looks like the public is in there. You guys are just butthurt because you're not allowed in because you're crazy lunatics standing outside the door like a bunch of stalkers, sticking your cameras in the door trying to film after having already been out on the street. And I'm sure there's more that you didn't, that isn't recorded and wasn't uploaded, of you guys acting like absolute brats, shouting and being irate on the street, shouting about immigrants and migration when everyone knows what your true aim is. They see this and they think they're fighting against a man and they think they're doing great when, you know, normal people like are very willing to have a conversation about immigration, and you know, we obviously want to curtail and we want to make sure we're doing the best thing that we can for international protection applicants, and we're doing our international duty. And you know, normal people, of course, we can have a very frank and open and realistic conversation about migration. We don't want to have these conversations with you lunatics who are shouting and screaming about it, and that's all that you guys have in your brain is this issue. That's why you're not allowed in. That's why you're outside the door filming, sticking your phone up to the window like a bunch of crazy people and a bunch of stalkers that, you know, haven't been let in.
The ones that ask the easy questions, no doubt. So there you go. That's a look inside. I think it's Cup of Joe. I think that's Cup of Joe there. It's his place there that they're using. But
yeah, he's trying to get his little brownie points there with the Taoiseach, you know, the de facto Taoiseach, by the way. Trying to get his little brownie points in, you know, look at me, covering a tiny portion of the window with a menu.
Ugh, I mean, it's just, she's vile. She really is. Like, like laughing, you know. And she said it there. This counsellor, there's a counsellor in Mayo, this Jer guy who they're going on about, giving out about him. He's trying to win brownie points with the with the de facto Taoiseach. Talking about Enda Kenny. So this is bordering into conspiracy theory level nonsense, like, you know, like Trump supporters going, you know, the real president isn't Joe Biden, the real president is Barack Obama. You know, this is the level of insanity that these people are on. That they think that Enda Kenny is the shadow Taoiseach. He's in the shadows and he's pulling the strings on Simon Harris. Like, dear God, how embarrassing. And she's willing to show her face, which is, I just find it's so funny to me. I find it hilarious. And she thinks it's great laugh. He's trying to cover the door. Yeah, like, no, you're just a weirdo and people don't want to associate with you lunatics. But it just goes to kind of show what they're like. And we're just going to go on to the last bit of footage that Dave uploaded, which it gets even crazier. So let's just continue on from here.
Was it with the menu? Was it a menu or was it his flyer? I don't know. Oh, yeah, it was a menu.
A menu or a flyer, I don't know, but like either way, I mean, it's not very effective, is it? The window's huge.
No. Now, so finally, we had this interaction here with a journalist.
You don't report on all the children that are going missing. 24 migrant children in the month of January alone. How come RTE and Virgin Media don't report on those children going missing? What do you think they're going missing for? Wouldn't be sex trafficking by any chance?
Do you know anything about sex trafficking, lads?
Oh my God. Hello lads, do you know what sex trafficking is, do you? Like, I mean, it's buffoonery. Like, these are reporters. Like, they have nothing to do with government policy or anything to do with the migrants. Like, and this guy has his back turned to her, like they don't even want to interact with Crazy because they know exactly what these people's agenda is. And she keeps harping on about the children, and like as if she cares about. She does not care about any immigrant children at all. She doesn't care about immigrants. Neither of them do. They want to get them out. They don't want to have to deal with them. They don't want to see brown people or black people or anyone over here that isn't Irish. So this whole feigned, what about the kids is just, it's disgusting. It's just the thin veil, the shiny veneer that they put on their racism to try and basically, I suppose, get gullible people to believe that they're real patriots and they care about Ireland when really they're just destroying the fabric of Ireland. Really and truly, I believe people like this are. Now, don't get me wrong. There was reports, that in January there was, I think it was 22 child migrants went missing from state care, which was actually a huge increase in comparison to other figures. I think, but before that, like it would, might be 2 or 3 in a month or something like that. And I mean, that's not good. Don't get me wrong, that's not good, and hopefully the majority of these were found and brought back, etc. But the way these people are going about it is just absolutely the wrong way, and the feigned caring about these children while going on marches through Dublin, send them home, deport them. It's just crazy. And then shouting in the street, lads, do you know what sex trafficking is? Come off it. Absolutely come off it. It's embarrassing. But that's really it, guys. I seen this video and I said I had to make a little response to it because it boils my blood. This whole rise of the far right in Ireland, and these two are going to claim they're not far right. They can claim it all they want. They're racists. That's what they are. This Suzanne Delaney standing on the steps in our capital, shouting about our ancestors and we'll rise again and all of this stuff, it's fascistic language, it's fascistic rhetoric. And then for her to feign, what happens if there's a fire? Where are the kids gonna go? The only reason a fire is going to start in one of these places, one of these IPAS centres, is because followers of you lot are going to go over there and petrol bomb the place because they don't like immigrants being housed in these centres. That's why the place are going to go on fire, because you guys are stoking fear in ordinary people about these immigrants as if immigrants are the problem. Immigrants are the issue, which is just ridiculous. Immigrants are not the problem. The problem has always been the government and government policies over years and years. And we all know what the real problems have been in Ireland. The absolute unfettered corruption that has been going on for decades in Ireland. All the backhands for developers, and another big one obviously is the multinationals as well, which have a stranglehold on Ireland, and all of our services and all of our zoning and all of this kind of residential stuff has been planned around keeping the multinationals happy, which has eroded kind of a lot of these, especially towns out in rural Ireland, which I know there's a lot of anger out there. It's not the immigrants. The immigrants didn't cause it. It's been the government. And all of this hate being projected onto the immigrants is just, it's sad. It's not who we are as a people. Ireland is the emigration country of the world. Our people have emigrated millions and millions around the world. We helped build the world. You know, and what really pisses me off, it really does, is that all of these movements, these far-right movements, are being funded by right-wing elements, far-right elements in the UK, and also very conservative, religious, far-right elements in the US. So these people are basically siding with far-right British Brexit wannabes who are trying to get the Irish people to follow them down this suicidal path of leaving the EU and hating all foreigners. We all remember history, don't we? The British were the ones that considered Irish subhumans. There's the famous pictures of the picture of an Irishman beside the picture of a gorilla, like spot the difference, like essentially, you know, comparing us to monkeys. You know, these are the people that these two want to align with. Whereas I'm on the side of, hang on a second, we've gotten rid of that yoke. We've gotten rid of that horrible, you know, regime that ruled us for years. And now we want to be the people who want to oppress others. It's shocking, it's horrible, and you know, I feel like I'm going to be making a lot more videos on this topic because I've been just seeing an absolutely crazy level of you know, right-wing propaganda going around, not only on YouTube, but it's all over Facebook, you know, and all these secret Telegram channels that they're joining to spread their hate and their message. So guys, if you like this video and you want to see more commentary on the rise of the right wing in Ireland, and you know, don't forget to subscribe, share this with your friends, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take it easy.